Picture this. You're standing before Warwick Castle in England. It's massive, stone walls towering 130 feet above you. These aren't just any walls. They're made of limestone blocks, each weighing up to 15 tons. That's heavier than 3 elephants combined. Now here's the mind-blowing part. This fortress was built in 1068, nearly 1,000 years ago. No cranes, no bulldozers, no power tools. Just human hands, primitive tools, and sheer determination. How's that even possible? The answer lies in secrets that medieval builders took to their graves. Secrets so ingenious that modern engineers still study them today. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see these ancient monuments. Because the truth is, medieval builders weren't primitive at all. They were engineering geniuses who solved problems we struggle with today using nothing but their minds and muscle. The first secret, it all started underground, in a place most people never think to look. Point 1. The secret of the foundation. Master William de Corbel stands at the edge of a hill in 1138. His weathered hands gripping a wooden surveying rod, not just picking a pretty spot for a castle. Conducting what might be the most crucial decision of the entire project. Because here, as what most people do, ironry lies, medieval builders were geological experts long before that term even existed. William knows that this hill isn't just high ground. It's sitting on solid bedrock. He can tell by the way water flows around it, by the types of plants growing here, even by the sound his staff makes when it strikes the earth. This isn't guesswork. It's science passed down through generations of master builders. The foundation isn't just a hole in the ground. It's an engineering marvel. William's team will dig down 30 feet, far deeper than most modern houses. But here's the genius part. They don't just dig straight down. They create a stepped foundation, like an inverted pyramid, distributing the castle's massive weight across a much larger area. Each step is carefully calculated. The bottom layer uses the largest stones, some weighing 20 tons, placed directly on bedrock. These aren't just stacked randomly. Each stone is shaped to lock with its neighbors, creating an interlocking puzzle that gets stronger under pressure. The medieval builders discovered something modern engineers call load distribution, centuries before it had a name. They knew that a castle's foundation had to support not just the weight of the walls, but also the dynamic forces of siege warfare. Catapults, hurling boulders, battering rams, pounding gates, and thousands of defenders running along the battlements. William's secret weapon? Lime mortars, mixed with local clay and crushed stone. This isn't ordinary mortars, it's a chemical marvel that actually gets stronger over time. As centuries pass, the lime continues to cure, essentially turning the entire foundation into one solid piece of artificial stone. That's why these castles are still standing today, while modern buildings crumble after decades. Point 2. The miracle of the stone. The sun barely breaks the horizon when Master Thomas leads his quarry team into the limestone caves of Caen, France. But this isn't random digging. Thomas possesses knowledge that would make modern geologists jealous. He can read stone like a book, identifying the perfect blocks by their color, grain, and even the sound they make when struck with his iron hammer. Listen closely. A sharp, clear ring means dense, strong stone. A dull thud. That block will crumble within decades. Here's where it gets incredible. These medieval quarrymen could extract 20-ton blocks from solid rock using nothing but iron wedges, wooden hammers, and water. Their secret? They understood that stone has a natural grain, just like wood. Find the grain, and you can split massive blocks with surgical precision. Thomas drives iron wedges along the stone's natural fault lines, then soaks wooden wedges in water. As the wood expands, it creates tremendous pressure, enough to crack stone cleanly without shattering it. But extracting the stone is only half the battle. Now comes the real engineering marvel. Transportation. Picture this. A 15-ton limestone block needs to travel 200 miles from the quarry to the castle site. No trucks, no trains, just medieval ingenuity. They build massive wooden sleds, reinforced with iron, then use teams of 40 oxen to drag them. But here's the genius part. They don't drag them over rough ground. Medieval builders construct temporary wooden roads, essentially the world's first highways, with logs laid perpendicular to create a smooth rolling surface. When they reach rivers, they don't give up. They build specialized barges that can carry multiple stone blocks, using the current to their advantage. Some blocks travel hundreds of miles by water, guided by master navigators who know every bend and shallow. The precision is Each stone is numbered and mapped before leaving the quarry, because medieval builders knew exactly where every single block would go in the final structure. They were not just moving rocks. They were orchestrating a logistical masterpiece that would challenge modern supply chains. Point 3. Hidden technology. Brother. Marcus wipes sweat from his brow as he examines the massive wooden contraption towering 60 feet above the castle walls. To the untrained eye, it looks like a primitive scaffold, but Marcus knows better. This is a treadwheel crane, one of the most sophisticated machines of the medieval world. Here, what will blow your mind? This primitive device can lift 6 tons of stone using nothing but human power. The secret lies in physics that wouldn't be formally understood for another 400 years. Inside a massive wooden wheel, 12 feet in diameter, 2 men walk like hamsters, their combined weight creating a mechanical advantage of 50 to 1. That means a 300-pound man can lift 15,000 pounds of stone. But the real genius isn't the wheel. It's the pulley system. Medieval engineers discovered that by routing rope through multiple pulleys, they could multiply force exponentially. A simple 2-pulley system doubles your lifting power. You've just quadrupled it. The master builders at Salisbury Cathedral used an 8-pulley system that could lift massive stones 400 feet into the air with just 4 men operating the treadwheel. But here's where it gets absolutely incredible. They didn't just lift straight up. These medieval cranes could rotate 360 degrees, extend their reach, and place stones with pinpoint accuracy. How? Through an ingenious system of counterweights and pivoting arms that modern construction crews would recognize instantly. The precision was surgical. Stones weighing tons were positioned within inches of their final location. And when the job was done, the entire crane could be disassembled and moved to the next section of wall. No permanent installation, no massive foundations, just pure mechanical engineering that could be deployed anywhere. But the treadwheel crane wasn't their only secret weapon. Medieval builders invented the windlass, a horizontal rotating drum that could pull massive stones up inclined ramps. They created compound levers that could move 20-ton blocks with just 6 men. They even developed primitive block and tackle systems that would unlook out of place on a modern construction site. The most mind-blowing part, all of this technology was powered entirely by human muscle, yet it achieved lifting capacities that rival modern equipment. Point 4. Human organization. Dawn breaks over the construction site, and Master Geoffrey surveys his army of 800 workers with the precision of a military general. But this is UNDKS. It is the most sophisticated organizational system the medieval world had ever seen. Every single person has a specific role, a precise skill set, and a place in an intricate hierarchy that would make modern project managers weep with envy. At the top sits Geoffrey himself, the master mason. Part architect, part engineer, part psychologist. He spent 20 years learning his craft, traveling from castle to castle, absorbing secrets from other masters. His knowledge isn't written in books. It's carved into his memory through decades of experience. He can calculate load-bearing requirements in his head, design complex stone joints without blueprints, and coordinate hundreds of workers without a single written schedule. Below him are the Freemasons, elite craftsmen, who've earned the right to travel freely between projects. These aren't ordinary workers. They're artists who can carve intricate stone tracery that will survive centuries. Each Freemason guards his techniques jealously, passing them only to carefully chosen apprentices through a training program that's more rigorous than modern medical school. Then come the specialist teams. The setters who position each stone with mathematical precision. The mortar masters who mix lime compounds with recipes passed down through generations. The scaffolders who build temporary wooden cities that rise alongside the castle walls. But here, S truly remarkable. This entire operation runs on a merit-based system that was revolutionary for its time. A peasant's son with exceptional skill could rise to become a master craftsman, earning wages that rivaled minor nobility. The best stone carvers were headhunted between projects like modern tech executives. Geoffrey's secret weapon, he understands human psychology centuries before it became a science. He knows that pride drives quality better than fear. Each craftsman signs his work with a personal mark, a medieval signature that ensures accountability. Shoddy work means your reputation follows you to every future project. Excellence means your mark becomes legendary, carved into cathedrals that will outlast empires. The coordination is breathtaking. While one team quarries stone 200 miles away, another prepares foundations, and a third crafts wooden scaffolding. Jeffrey orchestrates it all through a network of messengers, ensuring materials arrive exactly when needed. No warehouses, no inventory systems, just human intelligence and perfect timing. Point 5. Time and dedication. Master Robert places his weathered hand on the cornerstone he laid 47 years ago, tears streaming down his face. Today, his grandson will place the final stone on the castle's highest tower. 3 generations of his family have devoted their entire lives to this single structure. This is just construction. It has a multi-generational covenant that defies everything we understand about modern project timeline. Here asked, what will absolutely stagger you? Medieval castle construction was unmeasured in months or even years. It was measured in lifetimes. The average castle took 30 to 50 years to complete. Some, like the magnificent Chateau de Vincennes, took over 200 years. Imagine starting a project knowing your great-grandchildren would finish it. But here's the mind-blowing part. This wasn't seen as a problem. It was the plan. Medieval builders understood something we've forgotten. True greatness requires time. They weren't building for the next quarterly report or the next election cycle. They were building for eternity. Robert's father started as an apprentice on this very castle at age 12. He learned to read stone, to mix mortars, to understand the subtle art of weight distribution. By 25, he was a journeyman. By 40, a master. By 60, he was training his own son. The knowledge flowed like a river through generations, each adding their own innovations while preserving ancient wisdom. The dedication was absolute. Entire families would relocate to castle sites, creating temporary villages that lasted decades. Children grew up playing among the stone blocks that would become their life's work. Marriages were arranged between mason families to preserve bloodlines of skill. This wasn't just a job. It was a calling that consumed entire family trees. But here's what's truly remarkable. Despite taking decades to complete, these projects never lost momentum. How? Through an ingenious system of milestone celebrations. Every completed tower, every finished wall, every successful arch was marked with festivals that reinforced the community's commitment. Workers could see progress, even if completion lay decades in the future. The psychological genius was profound. Medieval builders created a culture where delayed gratification wasn't sacrifice. It was honor. To work on a castle meant your name would be remembered for centuries. Your craftsmanship would outlive kingdoms. Your dedication would inspire generations yet unborn. That's why these castles still stand today. Monuments not just to engineering skill, but to human perseverance that modern society has largely forgotten. But now comes the moment that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about medieval engineering. Picture this. It's 1347, and Master Edmund stands before the most impossible challenge any builder has ever faced. The castle walls have risen 200 feet into the sky, but there's one final element that will either crown this masterpiece or destroy everything. The Great Hall's vaulted ceiling. This isn't just any ceiling. It has a 60-foot span of solid stone that must support its own massive weight without a single supporting pillar. Modern engineers would use steel beams and computer calculations. Edmund has only his mind, his experience, and a technique so revolutionary that it won't be fully understood until the 20th century. Here's the secret that will blow your mind. Medieval builders discovered how to make stone fly. They created something called a flying buttress. But that's not the real miracle. The real miracle is what they built inside the walls, where no one could see it. Hidden within the massive stone walls is an intricate network of wooden scaffolding that doesn't just support the construction. It becomes part of the structure itself. But here's where it gets absolutely incredible. This scaffolding isn't temporary. It's permanent, designed to flex and move with the building for centuries. Edmund's team constructs a spiral ramp system inside the walls themselves, a wooden highway that winds upward like a giant corkscrew. Workers can walk horses and carts, loaded with stones, all the way to the top of 200-foot walls. No external cranes needed. The entire castle becomes its own construction machine. But the most mind-blowing revelation? The scaffolding system is reversible. If the castle ever needs major repairs, centuries later, the hidden wooden framework can be reactivated, allowing future generations to access every single stone in the structure. It's like building a castle with its own internal elevator system, using nothing but medieval technology. When Edmund finally removes the temporary supports from the Great Hall's ceiling, 800 workers hold their breath. If his calculations are wrong, 50 years of work will collapse in seconds. The stone groans, settles, and then, silence. the ceiling holds, not just for that day, but for the next 700 years. That's the moment when medieval engineering transcends mere construction and becomes pure magic. Closing as you stand before any medieval castle today, you're not just looking at old stones, you're witnessing the greatest engineering achievement in human history. Accomplished without computers, without power tools, without modern machinery, every block tells a story of human ingenuity that makes our smartphone-dependent world seem almost primitive by comparison. These weren't just buildings. They were statements carved in stone that declared, "We will endure." And they have. While modern skyscrapers crumble after 50 years, these medieval fortresses have weathered 800 winters, survived countless wars, and continue to inspire REI in millions of visitors. The techniques that built them, the geological wisdom, the mechanical innovations, the organizational mastery, the multi-generational dedication, these weren't lost arts. They were deliberately abandoned as we chased speed over permanence, profit over perfection. But here's what's truly remarkable. We're rediscovering these medieval secrets today. Modern architects study Gothic cathedrals to understand sustainable construction. Engineers examine fly-in buttresses to design earthquake-resistant buildings. Project managers analyze medieval guild systems to improve team coordination. The wheel has come full circle. Perhaps the most profound lesson isn't about construction at all. It's about what humans can achieve when they think beyond their own lifetimes. Medieval builders created something greater than themselves because they understood a truth we've forgotten. The greatest achievements require not just skill and intelligence, but patience, dedication, and the willingness to plant trees whose shade you'll never enjoy. The next time you see a medieval castle, remember this. You're looking at proof that ordinary humans, with nothing but determination and ingenuity, can create miracles that outlast empires. In our age of instant gratification and planned obsolescence, maybe it is time to ask ourselves, what are we building that will still inspire wonder 800 years from now? The medieval masters knew the answer. The question is, do we have the courage to follow their example?